part replacement essential.
Hey Transformers fans, I've got a tutorial for you today on a small customization that you can do to your Powermaster Optimus Prime or really any large transformer that has a head that you can take apart and get at the eyes. In my Powermaster Optimus Prime video, I showed how I had made him chrome eyes using chrome tape, and that's what today's tutorial is going to be all about. So what motivated that was that the original Optimus Prime, as well as this commemorative reissue, has red eyes, and I've always associated red eyes with Decepticons, blue eyes with Autobots. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but for some strange reason, red eyes on an Autobot is okay as long as they are chrome, as long as they're shiny. So I tried to do the same thing with my Fortress Maximus a while back, and Fort Max's body is a little too big for the shot, but his head fits just fine. And I gave him a blue visor. This is not a sticker, this is just like a visor that I can plug in and take out. But when I gave him a blue visor, I thought that's not really Fort Max. Fort Max needs the red eyes, but it needs to be chrome. Just like on Grimlock, I tend to prefer the red eyes on Grimlock just because he's so huge. So if an Autobot is enormous, if he's a giant, then red is fine by me as long as it's shiny. So that's what we're going to do with this Powermaster Optimus Prime today. This one right here, my other Powermaster Prime, has blue chrome tape over top of his eyes, which looks fantastic. And then by the end of the video, the second one will have red chrome eyes, and you'll be able to compare and decide for yourself which one you like better. Just to bring in another Transformer to illustrate my point, this is Double Dealer, the Powermaster, and he came with just plain red eyes, which I've never really liked. The robot mode of this guy is supposed to be the Autobot version, the Autobot mode, and then he can transform. You pull these wings out and you transform him into a big bird, and that's the Decepticon version of him. But the Autobot version had red eyes. Again, didn't quite look right to me. I cracked his head open, which is a lot trickier than this guy is going to be today. But I opened him up, gave him some blue chrome eyes, and I didn't really like how it looked. Again, because this guy is sort of a larger Transformer. Once again, the chrome red eyes looked better on him. It's just the shiny red makes a Transformer look really powerful to me. I guess that also applies to Metroplex. He's an Autobot city, a giant, but a giant with blue eyes just doesn't seem as powerful and imposing as a giant with red eyes. So what we're going to use today is chrome blue tape, and we're going to be using chrome red tape. This is chrome blue tape, which I picked up on eBay. This stuff is really cheap, just like a couple bucks. And all you search for is chrome tape, and what it's normally used for is on cars, to stick on the sides of cars. So this is the stuff I used for that Optimus, and then the stuff I'm using on today's tutorial is red chrome tape. This stuff is a little thicker. It doesn't need to be all that thick. For eyes, this thickness will do. This looks like about an inch. This just happened to be what was available at the time I bought it years ago. It was thicker, and we're going to chop off a little piece of that. It's not really staying tight on this little roll very well, but we're going to get started now and show you how to take apart the head. So the first step is to remove the head from the body, and this one is really tight in there. And I can't stress enough, you got to have the right tools for the job. You don't want to be using just any tool that's lying around the house. Don't be using a steak knife like I used to when I was a kid. You're gonna end up damaging the holes here, but you just get one of these screwdrivers that are actually small bit screwdrivers. So like a full handle screwdriver, Phillips head isn't going to work on this. Most of them are going to be too big. So you get one of these smaller ones, and you just unscrew the 2 screws that hold Powermaster Optimus's head together. And that's the first one. Set that aside so we don't lose it. And then the second screw down here. And this one's really tight. So I'm going to show you a trick for what to do when you get really tight screws in here. My wife has these things in the kitchen for when you can't get a top off of a jar. You put it on top of the jar and it just helps you grip. And I've found that this actually helps a lot with gripping screwdrivers as well. So you just wrap it around the handle of the screwdriver, and it's actually really easy. It just gives you an extra bit of grip on the handle, especially if you're getting sweaty fingers, you're not able to get a good grip. This particular screwdriver doesn't have a nice rubber handle to it, so it's just a little bit of extra grip strength. We all know how important grip strength is in toy collecting. So that's the second screw we pull out, and now the head opens up really easily. You want to grab the top part of the head at the back and the bottom part, and then grab the front part like so, and you just kind of wiggle them apart. So that'll come off like that. And that's the back of the head, which we won't be needing. And here's the front of the head. So we need to get the eyes out. And they can be wedged in there pretty tightly. So all you need to do, this is brutal. I feel like Meng, Haku from wrestling. So you just reach into his eyes and poke Prime's eyes out. This is for restoration purposes only. So his eyes will pop out like that. If they won't come out by doing that, then you can also just stick something in Prime's eye. You don't want to just stick a screwdriver like this in there. You want to use anything. Just cover the end of the screwdriver to blunt it so you're not scratching up your eyes, just in case you don't like the chrome tape, or one day if you want to go back to how it was originally, so that you're not scratching the eye all up. Even over some tissue or your shirt or something, anything, just so that you're not scraping right on the eye. So you pop that out, and we put the front of the head aside, and this is what we're going to be covering with the shiny chrome tape. So it's 2 eyes, which are separate pieces. So I'm going to be cutting out 2 pieces of the tape, because I find whenever I just put one piece of tape over the whole thing and then I put this back in, you're going to be squeezing a little bit to make it fit. Now there are a couple of other tapes as well, glow-in-the-dark tapes. So if you wanted to give them a glow-in-the-dark eyes, either red, even though this looks pink, or blue, and there's even green. These are cool, but they're thicker. They're thicker tapes, and it makes it really hard to put the head back together. So even with a really thin chrome tape like this, what happens sometimes is that it's going to tear when you, especially here near the edges, right in there. It tears when you put this back in, especially since this is really sharp right here. These little guys, little eye parts here are really sharp, and they'll just cut right through the tape. So you have to be using something really thin and go really slow when you're putting it back over. So we're going to need 2 little pieces of this chrome red tape cut out, and if there are any kids watching, this is not a project for you. This is a project for mom and dad. Don't use scissors. So I never really measure anything with this. I just kind of eyeball it. And the way I've figured it out is one of these, like if I cut across this way, it's enough to cover both of these eyes, I believe. And then all I need to do is get the appropriate height on it. And you don't need much. Those are thin. So I'm going to, first of all, make sure that there aren't any scratches or gouges on the piece of tape that I'm using, because that's no good if you go to all this trouble and you realize, oh, there's a crease or a dent in one of the pieces of tape that I used. So this is just guesswork, a lot of intuition here. We're going to chop that off. This nice gleaming chrome tape. Man, does that ever pop. And then this is probably more than thick enough. I think I'm going to thin this out just a little bit. So chop that. And now I'm going to cut it down the middle. So again, just eyeballing, guesstimating, cutting it right down the middle, which I believe is there. And now we have two pieces which are roughly the same length. And then you need to separate it from its backing. This particular tape roll has a backing, so you got to just use a thumbnail, or if you don't have thumbnails, you can use something else thumbnail-like. Can be one of the more challenging parts of it. I always find if one corner doesn't work, try the another corner. It's as simple as that. So we're going to pop this on here and just stick it over top of the eye, just like that. Then we're going to take the second piece and take the backing off. That one's a lot easier. So this is, you can see how thin this tape is. It's really thin. But it's still pretty thick when you're putting this all back together. So I'm going to put this on top of this one right here. And this tape is not all that sticky. It's wanting to pop back up when I try to stick it to the front of the eyes. But having that gap in the middle allows the tape to not, it's less likely to tear in the middle. It's still highly possible, but as long as there's a gap in there, this has a better chance of not tearing. So now that the tape is on there, it doesn't have to be super secure, but we just slide this whole eye piece back in, and the way you know which way is up is this half circle goes up against the top post right here. So we just slide that in there, and then we turn it around here, and this is the tricky part. So this is the part you got to kind of wiggle, go very slow, go very gentle, otherwise those corner pieces of the eyes are going to tear, and then it's just going to look weird. You'll know it happened because you'll look at it and you'll go, oh, there's a spot there that's not shiny chrome. So we just kind of wiggle that in there. It does have to kind of pinch a little bit. I guess it wouldn't be as noticeable with the red chrome as the blue chrome because it's all red. But to get it to go all the way, see how much space though that eye compartment still needs to go, because there's a gap right here. So to do that, all we got to do, and I'm going to put this towards the camera so we can actually see it if it's getting damaged, because I'll have to start over again. But we just push it together, and apply a little bit of force, and don't be afraid to go slow. Good things come to those who wait, right? So that's getting there, and I think we're there. So that's pretty much all the way. And it doesn't look like I've torn the tape. So I got lucky on the first try. Last time I did this, it tore a couple times. But that looks pretty solid. So now, just put the screws back in. And once again, we might need, sometimes I find that one screw is supposed to go in one spot and one screw is supposed to go in the other spot. They're supposed to all be the same, but I just noticed trying to put that screw on the bottom, it was a much tighter fit. So I think they're, even though they're very, very, very close, they're actually, unless you want to do some stripping of the plastic, they should go back in the way they came. All right, that's all tightened back. We got a little bit of chewed up plastic there from the screws, but that's super tight. That's not coming apart. And look at that. Powermaster Optimus Prime now has some beautiful chrome eyes to go with his giant, powerful Powermaster body. And it's when you're moving the transformer around, especially if you've got him on top of something like a Lazy Susan or a Smooth Raoul, as I like to call my turntable, that's when you really get to appreciate just how the light bounces off of those eyes now. That makes such a huge difference. That's really, really awesome, especially with something like Powermaster Optimus Prime, who's supposed to be brimming with power. That's so much better than just plain old dull matte plastic red eyes. So I said at the beginning of the video we were going to compare red eyes and blue eyes, and you could decide for yourself which one looks better. And here we go. Two Powermaster Optimus Primes, both with, let's move this light around to see if we can get the eyes to dance a little bit. The blue definitely to me is Prime. Prime will always have blue eyes to me, and it looks great, but maybe this illustrates my point where when you've got a giant transformer, not just like regular sized Optimus Prime, but supersized Powermaster Optimus Prime, I think he just looks more powerful with the red eyes. And I don't know if that's maybe because I'm thinking of Fortress Maximus with his big red eyes, or Metroplex, but I just think he doesn't necessarily look better. I don't think the red eyes make him look evil. I think he just looks more powerful. And here he is with Double Dealer, who's also got the red chrome eyes as well. So yeah, huge improvement. Very easy to do. All you need is some scissors, a screwdriver, and some very affordable chrome tape from eBay. So if you're not all that crafty like myself, you don't have a lot of time or a steady hand for customizations, this is a really easy one and a really satisfying one too. hope this helps with any potential future Powermaster or any other Transformer customizations. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to the Patreon tribe for your support. If you're interested in joining the Patreon tribe, it's at patreon.com/MichaelMercy. And as always, feel free to share the video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment below, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Nerdmaste.